You're on mute, BG. Hold on. Hold
What
on, buddy.
what on earth is happening right now? We
Now
are
we are
into a brand
talking.
new season,
I remember my
and
first time.
all of a sudden, I can't remember how to work anything. I am also broadcasting to you via remote. I am not in Pittsburgh at the moment. I am in central Pennsylvania visiting family. So I am currently sitting in a hotel. I am trying desperately to not raise my voice. So, OG, no arguing with me tonight. Don't make me yell at you. Don't make me yell at you. Um,
Wait till you hear who my man of the match was.
I can't wait. Probably Mikey probably didn't even play. Probably doesn't even play for Arsenal. Um,
The
probably
12th
one of
man.
the academy kids, that played the other day. Um, anyway, this is a random intro for
And
us,
he's gone.
and he gone. Fantastic. That's all right. The guys that actually watch the match and pay attention and don't just read numbers off a screen uh, to bring you the analysis that you tune into the show for. Anyway, so the intro is let's get back to this. How's it? Welcome to another edition of the Arsenal Standard. This is the first of what will be many match reaction shows over the course of this season. This is our first. We are well into August now, excuse me. And the first match of the Premier League season is under our belts, a 3-0 win to the Arsenal over newly promoted champions of the championship, Coventry City. Coventry City. Your goal scorers this evening were Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, and the captain, Martin Odegaard. David Raya kept a clean sheet. And with me now to dissect all of it is my partner in crime, my co-defendant of the last better part of a decade now, OG Ryan. How are you?
Better part of a decade. Jesus Christ, I'm an old man.
Long. You've been with me
That's
almost
crazy.
as long as you've been with your wife.
That's definitely not true. Now you have me do
It's
now
close.
do mental
doing
math.
math.
Yeah.
Don't do the mental gymnastics to figure.
My brain hurts. My brain hurts.
And my sister from another mother,
Mister.
what?
Cool.
Sister from another mister.
Brother
right?
from another. I don't know how that goes.
Father.
Anyway, wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Mikey,
So close.
welcome back, buddy. How are you?
Hello. Thanks again. Had to come back. Week one, starting off to a good start. I was devastated though. I got to be highly critical of the club. We did allow one shot on target, so questions needs to be asked. But it is what it is, right? It's a rough start. No, dude. Hey, lovely to be served up a game like this because I do I feel that for the last decade, maybe 8 out of 10 opening matches were some bullshit away at Brentford with 7 players on COVID or oh, your first game's at Chelsea or some crap like that. And we were getting demolished every time. So it was kind of nice, opening up. Sure enough, hearing the current reigning defending champions did indeed hit like crack. First time we heard that in many, many years. Everything's fantastic, man. All things considered, I'm thrilled to be back. It's always nice to chat with you guys.
My man. Well, let's dive right into it, Mikey, and I'll keep it rolling with you here, sir. 3-0 to the Arsenal, clean sheet. All 3 goal scorers, I was thrilled to see open their accounts right away today. So my first question to you is just general thoughts on the game itself. Obviously we're not going to be gleaning too much from, an opening match against a newly promoted side, but 3-0, I think it was comprehensive. We pretty much dominated them most of the way through. So just, how do you feel? 3-0 to the Arsenal, 3 points.
Yeah, no, it like I said, it was a nice opener. I alluded to that. Coming up against a team that just came up from the second division, it's very noticeable. The physicality, the class, how we move the ball. Frank Lampard gave us our flowers after the game, talking about we're one of the best teams, if not the best team off the ball. And it's not something that he just says. A lot of teams say that. So it was a good opponent to go up against. a little bit more cardio along with the Community Shield, so to say. It lent itself for a good performance. The crowd was up for it. Overall, I mean, I could like joke around about negatives, but I mean, it was a completely dominant thing, right? It was like, I mean, shots. I think it was like 19 shots to 4, and like shots on target, it was like 7 or 8 to 1. So it was dominate. They couldn't hold the ball. We have like nearly double the passes, a lot more possession. It was great, man. I mean, honestly, like it was a nice opening match. I take those all day long, build confidence. And the way I see it, man, is I scratch off 1 week, 1 game day off of every calendar week I can in the hopes that Timber and Saliba come back. So I look at it, man. I am in crisis mode and damage reduction mode up until Saliba comes back. But all that said, Mosqueda's more often than not has been great for us.
Well, fear not, sir, because I have good news. Right after we hear from OG on the same topic. What are your thoughts, sir, on a comprehensive 3-0 opening match win?
Yeah, no. So I was at the Hartford Gooners bar, which shout out Second Bridge Brewing. It was so much fun. Everyone was awesome, very welcoming. And the bartender kept saying, "Oh, I hope we're hoping for a good game, hoping for a good game." And I literally like everyone's like, yeah. I go, no, I don't want a good game. I want us to blow them out. I want it to be a very boring game. It's first game of the season, and I won't lie. In the back of my head, and I even said to Megan a few times, I was about to say it, and I was like, no, I can't say it. Don't jinx it. I had Brentford in the back of my head. They come up from the championship. They haven't been to the championship in X amount of years, and they had a moment in their history against us, the first game of the season. So that was just in the back of my head, and I couldn't like shake it. So I was just like, I was nervous. We get into the bar, and I don't sit down for like 15 minutes. I'm just standing because I was like actually nervous. Because like, I mean, like, yes, you at the start of the season, you're always playing for something, but like we're defending something, and that's something we haven't done in quite some time. And it's actually more nerve-wracking than going to win it. I mean, still we have to go and win it again, obviously, but being the champions, being at the top in our throne, it was like I don't want another Brentford. So, but yeah, no, it was very comprehensive, very easygoing, a lot of fun. We were scoring goals by accident. So yeah, I mean, it was
Quite literally.
it was it was a very nice win.
All of the feels, boys, when we heard we know what we are, champions of England, we know what we are.
Amazing.
Some goosebumps on the arm, and I won't lie to you, I'm back near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania right now. So I went and watched with the Central Pennsylvania Gooners, just to kind of piggyback off of what Ryan was saying. And again, very welcoming, happy to have me there. And but as they're singing North London Forever prior to kickoff, that's when it really kind of hit. Like that was the goosebump moment for me, hearing the stadium sing North London Forever. So it's just, the thing is with a game like this, it's like it's tough for me to really take a lot away from it, because I just don't know how good are Coventry really, and so to give you an example, when I look back at last season and I look at the 3 newly promoted teams last year, and as we go into Sunderland away, which was the first time we played them last season, was at the Stadium of Light, we kind of knew what we were going into with that match. Sunderland had pretty much proven themselves at that point that, hey, they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams last season. So we kind of knew what we were getting, with them. But like right off the bat, it's a bit difficult, even though they are the champions. That they won the championship last year. It is kind of tough to really fully understand how good your side is going to be compared to a side that you really, it's a virtual unknown at this point. But, I think, again, I keep coming back to the word comprehensive. We did all of the things. I actually think we probably could have scored 5 or 6 today. I think there were a few things that just didn't quite come off as sharply as what it could have, and probably as sharply as what it will, further down the road into the season, that everybody gets comfortable and really gets their league legs under them, if you will. So I'm pretty happy with everything today. So I guess we'll start at the beginning, fellas, with the starting 11. Obviously, no Bruno Guimaraes. That's probably the most disappointing news of the day. It sounds like it's a hamstring.
It has already begun.
I did hear somebody say that it was a groin and that it is not, in fact, 6 weeks. So that is out there. But I heard more of hamstring in 6 weeks than I heard groin and week to week. So take it with
Arteta says he's not. Arteta says he'll be. I think it was his post conference. He said he'll be back within. Someone said week to week or weeks, and he said no. It's not going to be that long. So whatever. I mean, honestly, like I know you love the player BG, but listen, Miles Lewis-Skelly can stay in the 11 for as long as he wants. I am not rushing Bruno back by any means.
And Mike, yeah, I'll take this cue from Ryan, but you had said, about kind of marking off the days on the calendar until Saliba comes back, until Urian Timber comes back healthy. And I agree with Ryan. I love Bruno Guimaraes, and I want him in the lineup, but I don't see, given the talent that we can bring off the bench in a Martin Zubamendi and a Mikel Merino starting Miles Lewis-Skelly, I don't see a need to rush Bruno G back at all. And I guess I'll just say, let's stick with the starting 11. We'll get into new signings, potential new things we'll get into that later. But Mike, anything in the starting 11 that jumps out to you? I mean, I was pretty happy with it. When I saw the squad as a whole, I'm looking at it saying this has come out strong.
Yeah, it's kind of like based on fitness on some specific positions. I think a lot of it was predictable, so to say. I also think that a lot of the fan base is starting to realize, if they didn't, because I know that last season over the summer when Gyökeres arrived, I think people still had their doubts on Kai Havertz, and maybe there's still people out there that say, Kai Havertz is not the striker for the Arsenal. But I think for the most part, me at the very least, when I saw Kai, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where he belongs. He's our starting striker. That is my view. Like, Gyökeres is a very expensive, different profile type of striker. So when Kai started, I was all there. So at least once again, great performance. And I'm going to stick to just the starting 11, and we'll talk about performances a little bit later. The one thing that I wanted to point out that stuck out to me, and it's nothing against him. I'm thrilled that he's there. Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's come such a long way, and towards the end of this last season, I know that he played a lot, and the speculation was heavily involved just because of the fitness level of Zubamendi. Because Zubamendi kind of started off strong, he started tapered down little by little, and it was the Arteta was kind of forced in a way to start, hey, we're gonna have to spread some minutes thin because Zubamendi is struggling right now. What is it? Necessity is the birth of necessity is the something of creation, the mother of creation.
Mother of creation.
There you go. We used that one to death that one night. So what I found interesting is I've just Miles Lewis-Skelly having all the links of him potentially leaving. A week or two ago, Mikel Arteta didn't give a definitive answer whether he was staying. He kind of said, he was an important player, whatnot. Prior to the game, he said 100% he's going to be with us, which is nice to hear, of course. But I don't know if it was a fitness thing or just Miles Lewis-Skelly managed to take Zubamendi's lunch. I don't know which one. The truth must be in between somewhere there. I know that we still have active links with the Zubamendi potentially going to play for Real Madrid after they lost out on Rodri. So I may be way reading into this, of course, just conspiracy theories, transfer window, all this stuff. But I just thought it was an interesting choice to choose Miles Lewis-Skelly over Zubamendi. He's from what we've heard, Zubamendi's never been in the doghouse with Mikel Arteta. So the fact that he just didn't start, a World Cup winner and whatnot, I know his minutes weren't as heavy like Merino and everybody, but I honestly thought he was going to play more minutes, I should say. But Yeah, that was the most interesting for me for the starting 11. And on Guimaraes, but I may be reading into Mikel Arteta's comments way too much, but he did say he wanted to continue. And like that to me said it's a man like he could nurse it and just play through the pain. It wasn't like anything that's like, oh my god, no, he couldn't play that way. We chose to like he couldn't physically play it. It sound to me it was like, oh no, we just chose not to because he could have played through it. He said he could continue, and then he just went on to praise the guy's personality because to say, hey, he just got here and he's willing to play through it. So that was my interpretation of it at the very least.
No, full disclosure, I have not heard any of Mikel Arteta's post-match comments. So I'll take what you're saying there, Mikey. But OG, thoughts on the starting 11? Let's just ask. Let me ask you this: Were you surprised that Miles Lewis-Skelly started over Zubimendi? I have a thought on it, but I'll get your thought on it first.
I don't know. So I go back and forth. So when I saw him in the 11, I was very happy. But I get it. With Bruno's injury, like obviously someone had to come in. I don't know. I want to say Arteta was riding the hot hand because Miles Skelly started most of the preseason because Zubi was at the World Cup. But I don't know. I also kind of almost forgot about Zubimendi because I saw Miles Skelly starting and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Bruno's hurt. I didn't even think like, oh no, like Zubimendi. I didn't even think about Zubimendi player. Like, oh no, he could start too. Like I was like, oh no, Lewis Skelly starting. Yeah, Bruno's hurt. Like we get it. It was interesting. Mike brings up not being, Zubi's not in the doghouse. I don't know. The situation's very weird because we played his legs off. We sat him. We brought Miles Skelly in, breath of fresh air, killed it towards the end of the season. And then we kind of don't hear from Zubimendi ever again. And then World Cup comes, he doesn't play at all. And I get that. I get who's playing in front of him. But, the coach did say he was the second best midfielder in the world or defensive midfielder or whatever he said in the world. So it's like, okay, he's second best in the world, should probably be getting minutes. Did he get any minutes besides the final? I don't remember him really playing.
He played 18 minutes in the entire World Cup.
And was that all from the final? Because I know he came on the final.
Yeah, I don't think he played it all until the final.
Yeah, so I mean, that situation is weird. And then, like, to top it all off, Jose Mourinho really likes him, links that way. But yes, it's an interesting player. It's interesting to see how it's going to turn out. And let's not even forget, we have a player who, he scores a lot of goals, and people see him as a striker, but he plays in the midfield, and that's Mikel Merino. He also came on and played for us today, and that's another thing that you're like, where is he going to play? How is he going to impact the midfield after we made a pretty big signing, a former captain of Newcastle, and a player who is not going to play the Norgard role. He's not going to come in and be a rah-rah cheerleader and be behind the scenes. He's going to be playing, and I think he intends to play, and I think Arteta intends to play him. So it's very interesting to see how this all is going to work out. But again, really happy to see Miles Lewis-Skelly play. I mean, just really quick, I was a little, I don't want to say upset. Upset, maybe whatever less. I was a little like, really, when I saw Saka and Rice in the starting lineup, because I was just kind of like, dude, like, I'm just nervous. I want to just wrap them in a plastic bubble wrap. Those two make me so nervous. But I mean, they didn't look off the beat. They looked really well. They looked really fit. Or actually, they played really well. But yeah, so all in all, the 11 is probably gonna be the 11 for most games, bar our new signing that was announced today. But yeah, I'm very, very pleased.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I didn't catch the very beginning of the game. Did they present Konsa?
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, he came out. I mean, the club released all of the media for it before the game today, so it was
right over my head.
It was done deal. The club released, the contract signing. There was a video, all of that. But then, yeah, before the club even made an announcement for people to be in their seats 15 minutes prior to kickoff, because they were introducing Ezri Konsa to the Emirates crowd. So, but we'll come back to Ezri Konsa here in a little bit. But with the Zubamendi versus MLS thing, and I made it a point to watch Martin Zubamendi when he came on today, because one of the first thoughts that I had was, I hear the Bruno G injury news. Okay, not going to play, not getting a shirt. Cool. So is it Zubamendi or is it Miles who's going to start in the midfield? Because it's going to be one of the two. So it's Miles. And I'm watching. And I think probably the biggest thing to me in watching Miles Lewis Skelly is when he gets the ball, it doesn't matter where he gets the ball. He turns to face the goal. He can be 80 yards away, but he turns to face the goal. He can be 18 yards away, and he turns to face goal. Whereas, and I made it a point to watch Zubamendi when he came on, and it's different with him. Zubamendi doesn't seem to really want to progress the ball. Now, he had moments today where he certainly did. I don't want to say that it didn't happen, but Miles just seems like he gets the ball, he wants to turn, he wants to go. He either wants to dribble, or he wants to make the progressive pass up the pitch. Whereas Zubamendi seems to receive the ball and kind of look around and like, I need to examine my surroundings. I need to take all of this in before I make a decision. And it's like he's thinking, and he ends up being 2 steps too slow for me. And so I think when you look at a play, because I don't think, and OG, maybe you will argue with me, but one of the things from last year was just how the lack of progression, I guess, is the thing that to take the goal scoring and everything away. It's just the hoofing the ball around the horseshoe, right? And it just like, can somebody please make a progressive pass? Can somebody please make a run, make a dribble, do something? Miles brings that. And I think he's brave. He will not just take the ball and be like, hot potato, get it off my foot. And I think that probably, puts him over Zubamendi right now. And when you take into consideration everything that he did last season at the end of the year, to me, it's a no-brainer. If Bruno G isn't going to start, then it's probably has to be Miles. So I don't see Zubamendi in that role. I see Zubamendi more in the 6 than I do as an 8. That's just how I see him. I don't think he and Rice can play together. So I think that also is where, I know you want to argue with me, but we had this discussion. I don't think the double pivot of Rice and Zubamendi. I don't like a double pivot, period.
Well, that's what they played today. Miles and Rice were a double pivot.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
But here's the okay. Maybe you and I see things differently. What I see from them, they're interchangeable, but they're not. When I think of a double pivot, I think of basically like 2 6s. Is kind of how I think of a double pivot. What I see from those, what I see with Rice and Zubamendi on the pitch together, Rice doesn't get far enough up the pitch, and Zubamendi doesn't want to get the ball up the pitch. So with Miles, I think you've got somebody that'll carry the ball or make the progressive pass. In Declan, you've got a guy that even if he doesn't have the ball, he's going to he'll run for you. He'll run up the pitch. I just don't think that Rice and Zubamendi work together, because I think Rice and Miles do this. Rather than doing this, they're doing this, if that makes sense. Hey, rock on, baby.
No, well, so the double pivot that I saw today, I would say they were both 8s, more 8s. I think in the beginning of the first half, I would say even maybe before we scored, I saw probably 2 6s, because I remember multiple times I was screaming at the TV, like, Miles, you gotta go. He was sitting too far back, and Rice was kind of near him, and I'm like, dude, like, one of you has to go. Rice kind of was more of the roamer, more of the one that was pushing up. But after a while, yeah, I think it turned into 2-8s, and Odegaard was like a legit attacking midfielder 10. That's how I saw how we were playing. Just really quick, I just want to touch on Zubimendi and Miles Skelly. Zubimendi, the difference for me between both of them, you hit it right on the head. I will just sprinkle in Miles Skelly. Just he's got character. When he has the ball, when he moves, he's got personality. I don't see that with Zubimendi. And I think the first half of the season last year, I saw it a little bit. And I think a player in that position, like people talk about Rodri at City. Oh, wait, no, not anymore. But no, you talk about Rodri in City last season and how sorry, I think a shot at City. That was kind of like, anyways.
That was good.
But like people say, like, oh, if you don't talk about Rodri, then he did his job and he played well. And I think the same goes to Zubimendi. People brought him up because he was a good signing, but like, and BG, you said this in a bunch of shows early on in the season, you didn't see what Zubimendi was doing, which is exactly what he's supposed to be doing, which is good. Problem is running his legs out, and on top of that, he made a lot of crucial mistakes that led to us getting scored on, whether it be sloppy passes to the keeper, sloppy passes to Gabriel or Saliba. He made a lot of mistakes in our final third, our final third, right? I don't know how that works. Whatever. The final third with Raya in it. And I think with that, he lost all of his confidence, and I think his personality disappeared completely. I think his way of playing football kind of changed a little bit. And Miles don't give a fuck. Miles confident. He has personality. Like you said, he faces the goal right away. He's not scared. And Zuby's just like, no, I made so many mistakes and I didn't play the World Cup. I think it's a shit stack for him. Just he had a whole pile of shit in the second half of last season in the World Cup and now. So I think you're not going to see the personality from him. And I'm nervous you're not going to see it ever with him.
Let me say something just real quick on that note, because I did see more toward the end of the game. I think it took Zubimendi a little bit to warm up to things. I think it took him, a few minutes to get his feet under him and get into the game, the flow of the game. But I think I liked what I saw from him more toward the end. He was turning and facing goal. He was making better passes, better decisions, faster decisions when he was on the ball. The one thing that I don't see from him that I do see from Miles and probably to a bit of a lesser extent Declan are runs into the box. You don't really get that from him. He's once he gets rid of the ball, he's going to drop further back to sort of be the recycler, if you will. So, but I did like what I saw from Zubimendi toward the end of the game. Mikey, any final thoughts on Zubimendi before we move on?
You guys brought up a lot of good points, and you guys make me almost feel like he's going to be sold now, because you guys almost made me feel like redundant now. But I did want to. We're talking about the midfield, and BX brought this up, and this is not the first time I see this comment, because how the team performed in the Community Shield. So I got to throw it out there. And I want to, like BX said, like pretty much our perfect combination is Odegaard, Bruno, and Ismail Skelly. Now, is that a hot take because we're leaving out Declan Rice, or do you think it's just a situation where three players complement each other very well? Because like I'm sure there's a lot of people that will tell me Timber's a substantially better right back than Ben White. But I'm absolutely convinced that Ben White and Saka on the same flank is a fucking art. They just understand each other well. Like and Timber has his strengths, but like I see Saka and Ben White play together, and I'm like, they just get each other. So I guess that's my question to you guys for the midfield. Like, do you guys? I mean, Declan Rice is Declan Rice. It's hard to think tactically this decision is going to ever be made, like bar his fitness level. But do you think there's a world in which we see Odegaard, Bruno, and Miles Lewis-Skelly set up because Mikel Arteta says, I'm going to leave Declan Rice on the bench because I think this is the best midfield to give me the opportunity to win this game?
OG, you mind if I go first?
No, go for it.
So the way that you worded the question, Mike, I would say no. The way that you worded it is, will there ever be a time where Mikel Arteta thinks that that is his best midfield option? No. Is there a time where I think that Mikel Arteta can look at things and say, I'm going to give Rice a break. I'm going to not start him in this game, and I may bring him on at 60 or 70 minutes, but I'm not going to start him. I'm going to give him a break and run with that midfield three. Yes. To your first point, I think what you're getting at is chemistry, and I think what BX might be getting at is chemistry between Odegaard, Bruno G, and MLS. And chemistry is absolutely a thing. And we have the best center back pairing in the world, and a lot of that is down to chemistry. It's talent. Don't misunderstand me, but it is also chemistry. And I think that, especially in football, you want to see relationships built with certain, probably even just trios of players on the pitch in certain areas, right? And the midfield is one. You can say on the right-hand side, like you just said, Mikey, Ben White, Bukayo Saka, there's chemistry there. And the chemistry with Bukayo Saka and Jurrien Timber just is virtually non-existent. Jurrien Timber is a better right back than Ben White. But where we are as a team, I think Ben White and Bukayo Saka just work better together. And then you factor in Martin Odegaard into that little triangle, and they work very well together. I don't think Timber works that well. Now, let's keep in mind, too, that Jurrien Timber missed an entire year because of an ACL, right? He can't really – he's another player that just, like, lack of availability with him. And I think that's hindered his ability to create that chemistry and those relationships with guys on the right-hand side. So, for me, it's a chemistry thing. I don't know how many people would ever actually say that that's the best midfield option of those three and leave Declan Rice out, because I think Declan Rice is probably in the top 5 best footballers in the world, period, full stop. And that's kind of a situation like, I don't know how you leave him out. But as OG likes to say, horses for courses. I can see a situation where Declan Rice doesn't play, mostly because of fitness. Or just an opportunity to give him some rest. Maybe it's not even a fitness thing. Just, hey, you know what? I feel like we can get by with this 3. Take 60 minutes off. But I don't think it'll ever be an option where it's the best midfield in Mikel Arteta's mind. OG, if it's over to you.
Yeah, so it's a difficult conversation because, at least considering the midfield, because Declan Rice is better than all 3 of them. I almost said combined, but honestly, it's close. That's how much I think.
I want to
that's
fight
how,
you on that in a second.
I was kind of kidding. I think, but I just think Declan Rice is such a good footballer. I think he's such a good midfielder. He does it all. He can do it all. But I think where we are as a club, where we are as a team, formations, tactics wise, we don't need him to do it all. We are a bunch of cogs. Yeah, we're a bunch of cogs in a machine, turning. And if he's doing all the turning, like, people are, left redundant, and I don't like that. So yeah, I mean, I do think Bruno, Odegaard, Miles Skelly probably, like, on paper, because I really haven't seen them play together, obviously, is the best midfield. But I don't know. It's like tough to just say, like, hey, we're gonna leave one of the best footballers in the world out of the team. I just can't, like, bring myself to do that. I do also want to see Bruno play for us more. I need to see, like, I know kind of what he can do for Newcastle, but Newcastle is in Arsenal. So, and it's not a shot against Bruno. It's just more of like, how is he going to play with the players that he has now? He has better, and he's got better players at his disposal.
Right.
So that could enhance his play. He could be even better. So yeah, it's interesting. And the Timber Ben White comparison, I get it, but it's like, yeah, but Timber's a better footballer. I'm always going to start Timber over Ben White. I don't care what anyone says. Whereas and I love Ben White. It's my wife's first Arsenal husband, so I love Ben White. But Timber is just, for me, so much better, so much better now in both of their respective careers. But yeah, Declan Rice is just such a good footballer. It's tough to really like say that. Like, yeah, that's the best midfield that works for Arsenal. But I think going forward, I think Declan Rice will probably start every like big 6 game. But other than that, like I really do want to see this midfield of Odegaard, Miles, Bruno.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I'll be honest. There are quite a few different options that I'd actually really like to see, and not even just in the midfield, because I think here again, you build relationships, and it's not just within a position group, right? It's you don't have relationships just with the back four, right? You've got a relationship with your right back, your right wing, and your right 8/10. You've got relationships with, yes, the midfield for sure, but you factor in other players in other areas into these relationships that you build. So I'd love to see quite a bit of experimentation where the opportunity lends itself for experimentation with the midfield and who's going to play where in what role. I think there are, obviously a player like Eza, Mike, hold your ears. Obviously a player like Eza is not going to play in the 6, nor is Martin Odegaard. But I think Bruno could play that role. I don't like him there, but I think he can do it. MLS, I think, can do it. I don't like him there, but he can do it. But then you've got, Rice and Zubamendi. That's probably their best role when you think about it. So there are a lot of very interesting options, I think, that we have in the midfield. So I'll be very curious to see how things progress this season with Mikel and how he lines up and rotates. And like BX said, we need to lean heavy on rotation and the depth that we have, because the fact is there's just no one else in the league that is as deep and strong as what we are. And we need to rely on that. That's what's going to get us over the hump for playing 68 games this season and ultimately, doing the thing that shall not be spoken of on this YouTube channel. God forbid we jinx anything. So, but moving on, I guess we can talk I don't know. I'd say we talk a little bit about the subs, but I mean, we kind of already did that with Zubamendi and Mikel Merino. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a minute. Mike, you unmuted yourself. Go ahead. You got something you want to throw out there?
Oh, I guess if we were playing a game where you get to choose one Arsenal defender, one midfielder, one striker, I think my choice would be Gabriel, Bruno Guimaraes, and Kai Havertz. And so because of that, I don't know, like I just like Bruno Guimaraes. I feel like he impacts the game a little bit more than Declan Rice. I truly understand everything that Declan Rice brings off the ball, but I just feel like Bruno Guimaraes, just his eye is to advance the ball, and he does it a lot. And maybe I'm just a sucker for a beautiful pass versus Declan Rice, who grabs the ball and carries it himself. But it was just something. It was just throwaway comment that I had, just because I know Ryan just mentioned about Declan Rice being the best midfielder that we had, and neither want to take it too far and say like the best midfielder out of all of them put together. And I respect that and I appreciate that, Ryan. But yeah, I don't know. I've been a Bruno G fan for a very long time, and maybe I'm just over the moon thrilled that he's at the club, and maybe I'm viewing it through rose tinted glasses. But yeah, to your point, BG, fuck, we're spoiled with I'm seeing articles of Liverpool squad still being short. We have massive players leaving Manchester City. Some deals that I would consider a little shady. and I questionable to say the very least.
Yeah.
But they're selling a lot of players and they're not bringing in a lot of players, and it's still a week or so, 2 weeks left in the transfer window. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to purchase more players, but I think a lot of their aura is kind of just disappearing a little bit. Like that's what kind of stuck out to me the most in the Community Shield, where I was kind of like, oh, I'm not pissing my pants to play versus them anymore. Like it was the weirdest feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but I was like, oh yeah, we're playing the Community Shield, and then I was like, oh cool, you're kind of harmless. It's kind of cute. You're not the big bad wolf anymore. So long may that continue. So to say, and I hope that feeling persists throughout the entire season. It's we're the reigning defending champions, as Ryan suggested. I know Ryan said early on in the podcast saying that he felt a little nervous. He thought about Brentford, and maybe that's just the idea of like, holy shit, we are now 100% clear favorites. I think that's not a hot take. Is that, would you guys agree with me if we would say
very much so?
Clear? But yeah, so
I would.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hot take to say that, and maybe heavy is the crown that sits upon the head. So we're gonna have to deal with that all freaking season, and we'll see how it continues to grow, man. So, but it's a privileged place to be here. I will say that 100% going into the season, we get to enjoy it a little bit more. We got the monkey off our back, and we're going to just ride it out and just hope for the best.
Yeah, just this is an interesting comment from BX. I saw a significant drop off once Solis went off. The attack went stale. That's a great point that I actually agree with. I think I know why, so I'll be curious to get your guys' take. But I think the reason that the attack went stale is that we didn't have a true left winger. Once Eza came on, Capier came on, it was Capier playing as wide left as we saw anybody, because Eza just kept drifting into the middle. So
I was screaming at the TV. I was so upset. I didn't like it at all. Now I get why Arteta doesn't play him at left wing. I totally get it now.
Well, and like Mike, this is I'm an Eza guy. I love him. I absolutely love the player. But this was a bad showing from him because he kept drifting into the middle. And it's like, if it I hate to say this, like I don't want to necessarily get onto a topic of Ethan, but it almost seems like Eza's doing what Ethan kind of wants to do, but Ethan wouldn't do it. Ethan wants to play in the middle. He wants to play through the middle, but when he was playing and he was playing on the wing, he wouldn't drift into the middle and not be available out wide. And that's exactly what we saw from Eza today. Was he's not available out wide as a left winger. He keeps drifting into the middle, and the ball goes out, and it's like Capier sprinting down the touchline to get there because there's no winger. So BX, that's a very, very good comment. I don't know, OG, do you want to add anything to that? I just think it's a good point. I think that's why the attack went stale.
I agree. It sucks. Go on, Ryan.
No, I wouldn't go as far as to say stale. What I would say is, I think, and I don't think it's, well, okay, yeah, I think it says, which I thought Solis was immense today, but like I think what it says more about Eza. And I don't know if it was stale. It was just we had no left side presence, and Solis was just so good today.
Maybe the better word to use there, OG, is balance.
Well, I think
came on maybe the attack didn't go stale, but the attack went very, very, very unbalanced. I think that might be a better word to use. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I think, we always talk about how, like, oh, we always prioritize the right side. We play out the right. We didn't do that today. I mean, we had moments obviously on the right side, but Solis was everywhere. But we played a lot on the left today. And I think after Solis came off and Eze came on, we couldn't do that anymore, which I guess kind of equates to, transitive property, associative property, whatever you math scholars want to say. We were stale. But I also it's tough because I like Eza in the middle of the pitch because I think he won quite a few duels. He's willing to win the ball in the middle of the pitch and go forward. He can make something happen. And I, if we talk about, would you like a player to make something happen in the middle of the pitch or on the side of the pitch. I'm going to take the middle of the pitch every day and twice on Sunday. So it's like you damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like I don't know, like what do I want? And I think it nice, Mike. I think what it comes down for me is I think just Eza is just a center. He's a player that likes to play in the center. I think that I don't think he's a left winger for us. I'm not saying he's not a left winger, period. I don't think he's a left winger for us. And that's a little concerning given, I'll say for now, the situation that's going on. I mean, luckily also for us, we do have two players like Nkapie. Even when he was playing for Bayern Leverkusen, he likes playing wide. He loves stretching the field out. He can make those runs. And Calafiori, someone that, look who it is. And you look at someone like Calafiori, who can also stretch wide, but Calafiori just likes to wander. And he likes to do his own thing and kind of almost play hide and go seek, which I love. But yeah, to me, which is, I think, did Nkapie come on with Eza? I think they did, right? They came on as a double sub.
No, I think Nkapie was no. I think who came on?
He came on first.
It was Marino came on with Eza.
With Eza, yeah.
Mm.
But to me,
Calafiori was like he was about to throw the ball in, right? And then they subbed him out. He just walked off the pitch. He came in after. You're right.
He just walked up the touchline.
But yeah, so I guess my closing argument is if Eze goes anywhere near the left side of our team, you got to have Nkapie on. Because Nkapie, and Calafiori can do it, but no, I want Calafiori being like a shadow in the night where like the other teams like, where is he? Where is he going? Because he literally does his own thing. But I don't really kind of what I was talking about. But yeah, no, Eza, I like Eza in the middle.
Let me throw this out. I don't want to go too far down this road because now we're getting into hypotheticals and splitting hairs with tactics and things like that. But Eza, I don't know that Eza and Odegaard could play together for an extended period of time.
You said Eza and Odegaard?
Yeah, I don't okay. Like if you went with a midfield of Odegaard, Eza, and Bruno G or Declan, I don't think that's not a midfield that you start with. That's a midfield if you're chasing a win or if you're chasing a game tying goal. You bring Eza on in that moment, as Mike likes to say, for a moment. Eza's a moment's player, so that's what you bring him in for. If you wanted to start Eza, I don't think you start Odegaard. But then I think that tactically you kind of flip things from right to left, where hopefully there's a world that exists where, say, Bruno, Eza, and Solis can create a chemistry and a relationship where the three of them on the left side of things could possibly work, or with Calafiori coming into play there, I would see as a starting instead of Odegaard, but then the focus for us in attack would have to shift to the left because Eza is going to play. He can play a similar role to Odegaard, but probably more shooting. I don't want to say if it makes sense. I know it makes sense, but Martin wants to facilitate and then make a late run, and if he can get a shot off, he will. Whereas Eza is going to look to create his own shot or get into a lane where he can get the ball one touch, boom, and fire it off. So I think, with Eza, if you wanted to start him over Martin, you now sort of shift focus and attack, and it's going to be more left-hand dominant than it is right-side dominant. TJ, by the way, good to see you, man. Thank you for being in the chat. Big up to TJ Warren. Go check him out over on TJ Warren TV. He does great stuff over there. He's a lot of fun.
It's so funny that TJ's here because when Mike was talking about Kai, and he's like, yeah, I don't know many people that don't like Kai as our striker. I immediately thought of TJ, your favorite East Coast Arsenal fan, Hot Connor. Hot Connor, I'm pretty convinced. Hot Connor still doesn't like Kai. Although granted, I don't know about now because the Champions League final when Kai scored that goal, me and Hot Connor blacked out. So I think Connor likes him now. But I don't know if Connor's like fully convinced for Kai. So I thought that was very funny.
I guess maybe we'll move on to the we've covered most of the subs today, but the one that we haven't covered was the guy who Ryan brought up his whatever
Oh
AI
my
app
god.
he likes to use and said, please create a graphic for me that says that Nani Madueke had the most chances created of any Arsenal player on the pitch today. And
Such a
whatever that
cocksucker.
AI, whatever the AI app was that he used, did a great job because it looked authentic. But AI is really good at that. But anyway, no, in all seriousness, I don't think Nani had he didn't have a bad.
No, he did.
But it,
He had a bad
like
game.
it was
Go ahead.
Nani. Like what I saw from him
So
today.
silly.
I have to watch myself because I got to be quiet. It's like I'm actually there's you know what? Screw it. There's a wedding here tomorrow. So there's all kinds of people here for a wedding. They ought to be partying their asses off right now. No, but in all seriousness, I need to try to keep my voice down. I didn't see anything from Nani today that changed my mind in either direction. I don't think he's any worse than what I think he's been, and he was no better than what I think anybody like OG who bigs him up all the time. I don't think he was that. I think Nani was lukewarm at best. OG will give you this. He looks bright. He looks brave, courageous in certain moves, but then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it's like he's like the dog in Up. He's a squirrel. And then he just does something like what? Like he fired the ball in to the far post with one of his first touches, and there's nobody there. And then he's looking around like, what are you doing?
I don't want to
create a chance right there.
I don't want to defend. I don't want to defend him here, but I don't know who. Was it Eza? It was someone there. He was expecting them to cut in to the middle towards the 6-yard box.
Listen,
because
he
they showed him on the thing going like this.
Because I will again, and look, I'm not being argumentative when I say this. I actually agree with you. I do think that there is a situation there where he's expecting a player to make a run when he makes that pass, and that goes for just about anybody. You make a pass like that, and somebody doesn't make the run, you're like make that run, dude. What are you doing? So, but again, there, he gets the ball. He's like, he's got to figure out his end product for me, which whether it be a goal or whether it be a decisive pass, he's just got to figure out that end product for me because I will say this, Mikey, again, hold your ears because you may disagree with me on this, but there are elements of his game that I do really like, but it's just not all there. I made the comment.
It's not.
I made the comment at the bar today that his footballing IQ is his jersey number. So,
see, I don't. He wasn't. This might again. The bar is not very high, but he was definitely the best sub. He was definitely the best player that came on off the bench. Again, you can't name. I then we'll have an argument if you could say anybody else. But
Mikel Merino plays baseball, or what is he playing now?
No,
I mean, listen for what
did he do anything?
For what Piero and Capier,
he got a shot on goal. I can tell you that much for free.
He did.
Oh man.
But what Piero and Capier came on the pitch, his job was, he did his job.
No, yeah. Again, bar's not high, so and it's different
baseline. I feel like just because it's Madueke, and we obviously have these conversations, and I know for the fact that I could be like hyperbolic about this shit, right, guys? But I do think like your baseline for Madueke is like he didn't do anything stupid, and I think that was a good performance. And then like Merino is like, well, did he score? Did he score a goal? What the fuck did he even do? I'm like, my guy, give me.
To the Nani thing, you got. It's not just you; it's everyone. Everyone thinks, oh, he's stupid. Yeah, like that. So like when he doesn't make a mistake, it's like it's funny. So if we, and I mean you two, I mean all of social media. If everybody didn't make such a big deal about this Ethan and Nani thing, or just the Nani thing in general, I wouldn't be sitting here telling you about Nani's game today because I would probably lean more in Tanner's boat. He was fine. And 4 chances created, like he created more chances than anybody in the game, and he was only on for 22 minutes. Like fine. Like I really didn't care. Like I think that's a cool stat considering. Listen. I I like the stat because he only played 22 minutes. But again, if it hadn't been for you guys, if it hadn't been for social media with all the hubbub, I wouldn't have gave 2 fucks. Oh yeah, 4 chances, 20 minutes, cool. Don't care. Did he score? Did he? I would have said that about Marino. But the fact that like, and I think it's funny too because I don't think he should start for Arsenal. I don't think that. I think
Yeah,
he's
you
a
never said
fine.
that. Yeah.
No, I know, and I know that, but I feel like because players, and this is I think with anything in life, but what I get annoyed with, I think people take such a hard stance on something and go in a complete opposite direction. That I'm like, well, fuck, I don't really think he is like that good. I really don't think he is like the bee's knees, but because I see so many people slating him and saying how horrible he is and how Ethan should take his spot, even though they play 2 different positions, then it's like, well, fuck, now I have to like campaign Noni to start every game this season. Well, fuck, now I have to campaign Noni for Ballon d'Or. And I hate that. And I think it's honestly, personally, I think it's just my personality, but
Exhausting.
I mean, it is, especially when half the stuff I say, I don't not that I don't believe it, but it's more of just, again, like, I think it's your thing. It's more like being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
And I think it's more of just to like prove a point and be like, see, he's not this bad. He's not that bad. He came on,
Okay, so
he did a job.
before you say he created the most chances, like,
I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah.
okay, so this is kind of like where I find like stats interesting because like stats are useful in sports, of course, but I feel like some people bring up the most ridiculous stats to make a point. And so like created a chance, meaning he did a cutback because he didn't push the ball forward. So he did a cutback, passed the ball backwards, and it would have had a shot. Oh my God, he created a chance. That's where like stats are like, this is where the stat people miss me. Like when you say he came in and created 4 chances, still I would take Solis' performance over Madueke's performance.
Oh,
because like so like so when that's where like the stats thing is funny to me. That's all. Like when people use stats in specific moments and like he created a shot, dude, he passed the ball literally backwards.
So it's funny you say that because and it goes back to even the last show when we were talking about like who scores more goals, Ethan or Noni. And I was like, well, Noni only scores 1 less goal. Like, it's not a big deal. That was one stat.
17-year-old.
No. But again, I don't give a fuck about his age. We're also a football club. We're trying to win shit. But my point I'm trying to make is I gave you 1 stat, but then I think it was Sean in the chat was like, yeah, but look at the minutes played. And I obviously didn't say that for a good reason because Noni played a shitload more minutes than Ethan did. And again, and then I'm going to fast forward to right now to like, yeah, Noni had 4 chances, the most in the entire game, 22 minutes. But guess what his expected assist it was? It was 0.04.
There you go.
So exactly, right? So like, yes, yes, and again, like, I agree with you, and that's why, like, if we didn't have this Nani talk last week, if I didn't see it on social media, I would be like, yeah, cool, 4 chances, I don't care. 0.04 expected assist. But because it's such a thing, like, I feel like I have to like die on a hill now with him and be like, oh, chance created 4, most in the game, and he only played 22 minutes. Fuck all of you, you know. But yeah, he was fine. Like, again, like, it is what it is. Yeah, I agree. I'd rather have Solis. Like, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Ethan might be learning left wing, so you know, we'll see.
The best part of this game is the first game of the season. I remember you and I were going back and forth on something over the summer. I was probably ragging on Vinny Jr. some shit. And anyways, I provided numbers and your comment was like, you know, take your bullshit stats out of the equation, something. And I just laughed and said, it's great because I just know that you're going to use stats to throw something at me. And I'm just going to tell you, take your bullshit stats away. And like,
hey, my name is Ryan. Have we met before?
Yes. Sophie. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to let you know I'm out here protecting Solis from these savages. Okay. No, everybody loves Solis. He's been wow.
Vinny who?
So I did, yeah. We kind of blew past them slightly. But I will say that occasionally, and I understand that Arsenal being such a big club, we tend to, and especially where we're at right now, defending champions, we tend to like look for the more pricier superstar players and say everybody's like, holy shit, Vinny Jr., we were linked with him. Rodgers initially potentially could have played left wing. But I always had that feeling like, man, it would be great if Arsenal just bought somebody on the cheap that nobody fucking knew, right? Like, why can't we buy who's the guy from Bournemouth? Krupi?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we buy somebody cheap and then everybody want him for 90 mil? Like, what the shit was that about? And then, like, I think we did it, guys. I think Solis is that guy. I think, like, if he leaves, like, if he continues to play the way he's playing, I think it turns into one of those things where, like, you know, holy crap, you know, he's easily like an 80 million, you know, player once he like plays a season or so. So I'm generally interested to see how many minutes he's gonna continue to play, because I am of the mind process, like the way I'm thinking is I feel like there's a left winger in the pipeline. I don't know if they're thinking of playing Julian Alvarez there. I don't know if they're close to the guy in Juve, but for Martinelli to back not make the squad, I just assume there's a deal that's close to, you know, being completed in the background. That's just I'll call it a reasonable, you know, deduction, like reasoning. I don't think it's too far fetched, but man, Solis has just been a freaking breath of fresh air. He's absolutely amazing. He seems like incredibly just traditional. I'm not going to do a lot of shit, but everything I do is just highly effective. And I am 100% pro that type of player.
Yeah, he's the new Greek freak, and I think he's gonna stay that way. He's awesome. He's a breath of fresh air, because I think you kind of saw like so many sides of him. He would dribble to the byline and cut in, get a cross in. He would dribble kind of through the top of the 18, get a cross in. We saw him move to the right side of the field and get a cross in. He had a shot at the top of the box off a corner. Like dude was everywhere. Yeah, he's good at football. He's good. I like him.
I love
the Greeks are doing something right.
I love that when he gets the ball on the wing, you don't quite know where he's going to go.
Yeah, you don't know what he's going to do. Yeah.
He could go to the byline. He can bring it up to the D. He could just try to beat you by going through you. You know, you don't know. And the thing is that I think he can do all three things equally well. I will say that I think if there's a tendency, I think he's probably more right foot dominant, because it did seem like he wanted to cut in on his right foot and get a shot off more that way. But he will definitely cut to the byline, pull it back. There's something there, boys. There is absolutely something there with Christos Solis. We've got a player on our hands there. It's gonna be really, really fun to watch him this year, Mike. I do agree with you, and I don't. It's certainly a logical deduction, to make. That there's probably something happening for Gabriel Martinelli to not make the match day squad. It is either a really, really bad look from Arteta to basically be like, get out of my club now, or there's something where there's smoke, there's fire. It's that kind of thing. So. Victor Gyökeres doesn't make an appearance today. I was surprised. Now given the subs that came on, it's hard to argue with the subs that came on. But I was a little surprised that Kai played, a full 90, that Gyökeres did not get didn't get any minutes on his tires at all. But again, you only get 5 subs, and I don't think that he got any of the subs. I don't think he got any of the subs wrong. I'll leave it at that. I don't think he got any wrong. This isn't anti-Nani. I probably would have rather seen Max and Nani. That's not to stir the pot. I'm not trying to. That's just a personal preference of mine.
Yeah, that's fair.
but I understand it, and I'm not like, I'm certainly not gonna browbeat anybody over. Oh, he should have brought on Gyökeres for Kai and left Saka. No, I wanted Saka off. So, but anybody, Mikey, what's your take on Victor Gyökeres not getting to make an appearance today?
I mean, I didn't even think about him, but he's another one, and he's another one just because of the stories of Julian Alvarez not going away. I already told you to stop that, Tanner. No, it's an ongoing joke we got going on the pod right now. Yeah, it's difficult just because the links persist. I don't know, the transfer window as a whole, the way we have conducted doing business, I have questions. I have a lot of questions, and some of them seem conspiracy theory. Some of them I think are rational, but some of our targets seem a little bit weird. So long circulated version of saying, yeah, he may be up for grabs, dude. Like I don't see that as a complete no. It seems like Atletico Madrid is making sure football wins, in the sense that they're telling Julian Alvarez, like, no, Barcelona, you're not going to use politics. You're not going to use newspapers and rag media to pressure us into selling you players like you've done so many years to other teams. And I find that fascinating, the fact that they've been so vocal. Like we all remember the beginning of the summer where they started saying, like, we just signed whatever Pedri for season tickets. We just signed Yamal for, tickets to the Shakira concert that's going to be held in the Metropolitano. Like, they were just taking the absolute piss out of Barcelona. And it was like, I'm the whole time I'm like, oh, this guy's cracking me up. And then they released the statement about, like, hey, we're kind of tired of these fucks because they're turning the media against us. They're turning fans against us. They're approaching our players behind our backs. And I get all it, man. Like, I understand where they're coming from as a club. I'm kind of like, I see people say, let him go. Oh, prisoner this, prisoner that. I mean, fucko, you and your lawyers signed that contract, like that you don't get to do that. And it's kind of like a club. How much would have Arsenal liked to say, okay, Ozil, bye, you're fired? It goes both ways. You can't do it. Like, once you enter that binding lawful agreement, you can have to stick it out or have somebody pay the price or whatnot. So I think the whole entire thing is kind of nuts. So I just want to know. I will say this, as far as the center striker goes, I'm kind of happy that the Osimhen thing is dying out a little bit, and I don't know if this is considered a hot take, but I will dare any of you guys to go look at one of those videos, like any highlight reel where they say, like, every touch somebody had during a game. And he is very clunky first touch as well. Like, he's not an upgrade on Gyökeres. He's just a swap, a plug and play. And if that's the case, just go with your known entity. I mean, Gyökeres managed to put 20 goals, was it, collectively all last season?
21 in all comps.
21. He could only get better from that, right? He could only have more chemistry. We spoke about chemistry a little bit earlier. So I say hottest of the hot takes, between bringing Julian Alvarez, being so publicly kind of shitty to Atletico Madrid, bringing Osimhen and keeping Gyökeres, I'm going to err on keeping Gyökeres. Maybe that's a hot take, maybe not. I don't know where you guys are at, but we'll see how this transfer window ends up.
Mikey, I'm not as down on Victor Gyökeres as everybody else, just simply because I think if you take the Victor Gyökeres situation with a fairly large dose of reality, I think you'll see that 21 at all comps might be a bit of a low return, but it's not that low. I think if we would have gotten 25 from him in all comps last year, I think a lot of people would have looked at that and been like, we had a 25 goal scorer this season? Like, what? When was the last 25 goal scorer for this football club? Aubameyang? So I the system doesn't exactly suit his style, and I said this on one of the more recent shows that we've done here. But our system, our style doesn't really suit him that well. And I think with a healthy Kai in, leading the line right now, and I do think that's the right call, by the way. But I think I do want to see him play. I do want to see him play, but I think there's an opportunity here for Mikel Arteta to look at a player like that and say, okay, in attack, maybe we need to switch some things up. Maybe we need to do things a little differently. Maybe it's not a one-size-fits-all tactic for all of these players. So I'm not as down on Viktor Gyökeres. I'm a little disappointed that he didn't get in the game today, but I'm not disappointed with the I'm not really all that disappointed. I'll say this. If there's a sub, the most disappointing sub to me, and Mikey, you're going to be thrilled with this, but it was Eza. And I almost would have, and I mean this, like if I wanted to bring Solis off, I would have almost considered bringing Gyökeres on for Solis and letting Gyökeres run off the left. He'd play further inside. He wouldn't be as wide as what Solis will get or what any of the left wingers
like what Eza did today.
What's that? Yeah, but not that far inside.
But I get
not
what you mean.
That far.
I get what you mean.
He'd be more in that. He wouldn't be the get chalk on the backs of your boots winger. He would be more of the channel runner, and quite frankly, I think that kind of suits him. That's not a thing that I would be like, what on earth are we doing? I wouldn't question that at all because I think he works well. When you look at a lot of what Gyökeres did with Sporting in the 2 years he was there before he came to us, a lot of the runs that he makes with the ball are on the left. So I'm just throwing that out there. But I'm not as down on Vic. I was a bit disappointed to not see him, but it's nothing that that's not a hill I'm gonna die on. So OG, jump in.
No, I was shocked that he didn't play. I think I even said in our group chat like yesterday, I was like, it don't matter for a 5-0. Gyökeres is going to play because we were talking about Kai versus Gyökeres. I was very, very surprised he didn't come on. So which makes me think that like stuff is actually going on because you hear rumors that he's offering himself to Barcelona. He might be involved in the Alvarez thing, but then we're linked to Osimhen, which I thought that was like bullshit. But it's funny, you guys are hearing that's dying down. I'm only seeing more links to him from other people. So I'm like, I was like so confused. Like, and I agree with Mike. I think it's a sideways move. Like, I think if you give Osimhen the same kind of Premier League experience, I think Osimhen stat-wise can be better than Gyökeres. But like, do you really want to risk? Is it worth 70 million that we're going to pay for him? I don't think it is. I don't think the stats are going to be that big of a difference. It's pretty negligible. So I'm just like, this move, and I think I tweeted about this a few times. The move doesn't make sense for us unless Gyökeres is actually leaving, which then it becomes, does the player not want to be here anymore, or does Arteta and the club want to sell him? And to me, I just can't wrap my brain around Arteta giving up on him after a year when he did all those things in Portugal, and which we knew he wasn't going to replicate in England. We knew that. And most people would think he didn't have a good year last year, which I think he could have been better. But I'm on BG side. I think he's better than I would say what the average fan thinks. I just think he doesn't necessarily fit with our system that much. So I would like him to come on in the second half when there's tired legs, weaker bodies that he can just bulldoze through. So yeah, I'm on the fence, and I'm not really on the fence. I think he wants to leave, which is like kind of crazy to say out loud now that I said it, but like I just can't see Arteta giving up on him after one season, and then we're linked with a similar player that, like, sure, maybe he'll be better, but the player that may be better hasn't played in the Premier League, so we don't know what he's gonna do, and we're gonna pay even more for him than we paid for Gyökeres, so we're paying almost like double the money. And I just financially, we talk about like overspending on Konsa and like all these things, like that's, to me, that's not financially responsible. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I think if we do bring Osimhen in, what happens to Kai? Because you're paying that money for a striker. Like, there's so many. I can talk about this probably for a whole show because I just think the moving pieces and everything and everyone that's involved, just it like doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, it's just a weird thing, and I think which complicated because I was feeling this even before. I was texting 3 Point Sniper about this, and I just didn't understand it, like from every possible side of the equation. And then now that I see that he didn't even he didn't even get a sniff. I didn't even think I saw him warming up in the sidelines. I'm kidding, he probably was, but he didn't play. I was just like, wow, there must be actual smoke him leaving, which is like kind of crazy and still doesn't make sense to me.
Something just to throw this out there, and I had a feeling this was going to be true because this is how Turkish teams normally function. But Osimhen is actually making more money than Gyökeres as well. That's just another factor, just because we were talking about unilateral and like thinking about net negative, net positive. I truly think it's a net negative, all things considered. So
Yeah.
I feel like we're not in that equation unless Gyökeres wants to leave or Mikel Arteta is hell bent that he doesn't want him at the club. I think it's overall a net negative. Just
and it's funny that you said that, brought that up, because that's what I read today. Is his wage demands are too high, and we're like, dude, you want to come here, you want to come to the Champions of England, like you got to lower that, and like they're negotiating his wages. So that's
I think that's how he ended up
like
leaving Napoli. Nobody wanted to pay his wages, and he was like, oh my god, Manchester City or Real Madrid are going to come and get me. And then when it was like, wait, you want how much money?
Yeah,
go. And then that's how Vlahovic, for that matter, ended up joining him over there, because they're like, no, wait, we're not giving you that much money, Sheep. So yeah,
this situation is, I mean, this is the last I'm gonna say on it. I think I can bring this up every show because this is the one thing that like, it's like solving a Rubik's Cube with a blindfold on. Like there's just so many moving pieces and parts. Like and again, like with, European journalists and all the transfer rumors, like obviously you need to sift through the bullshit. I'm guessing some of this stuff is true, which is like, I don't know. Again, I could talk about this ad nauseum, and I don't want it because we have other stuff to get to. But yeah, dude, it's such a weird situation. And to me, I don't even care if we bring in another attacker. I don't care what else happens to transfer. Like, to me, that situation, I'm going to be literally locked into that situation only. It's just crazy.
All I'll say on the rest of this transfer window, and we didn't even really mention Ezri Konsa, and we're not going to have time to on this program, but we'll do so. We'll dive into the Ezri Konsa thing early part of the week on the big show, which is now what we're going to call this. This will be the post-match reaction, and then we'll do a midweek show. We'll call that the big show.
Well, it's the big show. Sorry.
Nope. It's no. It's welcome to the big show.
Oh, nice.
It's Monday night. Welcome to the big show. Anyway, all I'll say on the transfer window and anything else is, at this point, just get the sales over the line. I'm content with the players that we've brought in. I'm happy.
Yep.
Now, I'll say the only caveat to that, and this, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you come here. It is for amazing content and flow, which is what I'm about to give you. This is a segue. The only caveat to my statement on the transfer window is, if Gabriel Martinelli does in fact get sold, then I do think we need another left-sided option. But with that in mind, Gabriel Martinelli
Ethan's going to play there.
Doesn't even get it. Well, interesting. Very interesting. If you heard,
shut up. Keep going. No, I made that up. Keep going. Jesus Christ.
Hey, who knows, man? I threw out there that Viktor Gyökeres should play left wing. No, I don't know. I think my idea is crazier than what you just said.
That's fair.
But yeah, Gabriel Martinelli doesn't even get a shirt today. So I don't like the idea that if he's not getting a shirt, and this is Mikel Arteta's way of saying get the fuck out of here, I don't like that. That I just don't. And I think that look, you had to bring Solis off. Would you rather have brought Martinelli on, or would you have rather brought, of your three options, Martinelli, Ethan Nwaneri, Viktor Gyökeres, Everett Chiesa? Of those four options to replace Christos Solis on the left wing, who do you want to bring on? Anybody going to tell me they don't want to bring on Martinelli? Anybody going to tell me it's somebody different?
I don't. So I'm not arguing with you on the sporting thing. I was thinking about this the other day, right? Is like I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, and I'll come back to Martinelli. It's kind of like you see a lot of comments like, "For fuck's sake, he's milking the club," referring to Gabriel Jesus, right? Oh my God, just fucking leave your milk, contract. We shouldn't have given you the contract. I'm here to tell you that it is my belief that Reece Nelson has done the exact same thing to this club. He could have also left, but he's also on very high wages. Not as much as Gabriel Jesus, but probably more than what he would earn in many other places once this contract ends. And I also think he's doing the similar thing, but I think what happens is people get attached to players for X, Y, or Z reasons. And for example, Nelson, he's a hell end and whatnot. And I think nobody wants to call him greedy or leech like they'll do Gabriel Jesus for that matter. I just think it's just a PR type of thing, right? So on the Nelly thing is when Ian Wright comes out and says, I don't think it's right that nobody tells him anything. Look, man, if you're Nelly, you're telling me you don't see what's going on in the fucking world. You're telling me that like Nelly's like back to back didn't make it into the squad, very heavily publicly went for Vinny Jr. and you're Martinelli in the middle of all this, like, no, I'm definitely part of this, right? Like, I just don't buy into this idea that he's so fucking oblivious that he's like, well, I'm probably gonna make it game day next game. Like, I just feel like it's a little bit of him. I don't know if it's him or the fans reading into it. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I just don't believe in the idea in which that the club simply told him, we're just not going to talk to you and things are going to be okay. And that he's like completely oblivious to the idea that they're trying to sell him. I don't know. I just don't buy into the idea that like he's not being told, therefore he has no idea that the club wants to sell him. I don't know. I find it strange. Where are you on this one, Ryan?
I don't know. I was in your camp before I heard Ian Wright talk about it. And now I'm like, well, Ian Wright sure has like access to the club that we don't have. I'm sure he's talking to people. So like he must know something that we don't know. And to be fair, like there is a lot of stuff that we don't know. We don't know, like you look at all the rumors and stuff, and like obviously like a lot of it's bullshit and stuff, but then you look at stuff that doesn't get leaked out. Like we don't know. There could be clubs in for him. They could, just for the example, like there could be 10 clubs in for him. Like 10 clubs could have approached Arsenal for him, and he rejected every single one. At that point, you're like, okay, dude, like
what else do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? And it's a very tricky situation because this is almost similar to the Trossard thing, where to bring Solis in, we need to get rid of Trossard just because of like player for position. And I think it's the same thing. We want to bring in an attacker and upgrade the squad, but we need someone to leave. We need Martinelli to leave, but we can't, But now it's like, well, if we don't bring anyone in and keep Martinelli, which I'm content. Like Tanner said, like I'm content with it. Would I want an upgrade over Martinelli? Yeah, obviously, but like I'm content with Martinelli staying. So yeah, I mean, okay, I guess I lied. The Gyökeres thing is mind blowing. This is maybe not mind blowing, but this is also like there's obviously stuff that we don't know. There's obviously stuff that has not gotten leaked, and I was talking about this to 3-Point Sniper today because we were going back and forth about this because I was crazy that he was in the squad, and we were talking about it because the only person I know that isn't as big of a fan as you, Mike, of Martinelli is probably 3-Point Sniper. He doesn't like him. He's ready to go, and he was like, "Oh, it's so cold." I don't want to say he was like audibly laughing, but he gave me a couple laughing emojis when he found out Martinelli was not in the squad. And we were talking about it, and he brought up a really good point. He's like, dude, we should have sold him last season. And I was like, okay, fair. But like, and then again, it's stuff that we don't know because it's like he was saying how we torched his value, which I agree with. He had a really bad season for us. Definitely lost value on the player. But do we know who is in for him? Do we know who's in for him now? Do we know who was in for him last year? Like it's a slip that I don't know anything about, so I don't want to like go in there and be like, oh, he's got to go. Like, what are we doing? But yeah, something's obviously going on, and I don't think Arteta is the type of manager to freeze him out without a reason. Or I genuinely think that and we did see reports of that in a couple of days that he wants to go to I don't think it was verbatim a Big Five team, a Big Five club in Europe or a Big Five league in Europe, but he rejected Turkey. There's reports that he rejected Saudi already, but then there's another Saudi team that's has him on their short list. So it's I don't know. It's just and it's like I feel for the player. He came in when we needed him, and he was great, and he was young, and he was him and Bukayo and Reese, Reese, but and ESR, and it's like I don't want it to end like this. But then again, it's like, bro, like, and again, I kind of touched upon this when we signed Bruno. We're winning stuff now. We're in a win now phase. Like, if we got to do some hard things, if we got to, whether it's sign people that I don't like, that I consider, kind of assholes or whatever, and we got to sell players that I like, like selling ESR was huge. It was hard for me. I'm still, still miss that dude. But yeah, and I think Martinelli is someone that, we could upgrade and potentially, get better and get over the hump in the Champions League and make the Premier League for us a dynasty. But yeah, the way we're doing it is odd, given what he's done for the club, given what I think he means to Arteta, because I think Arteta and him seem to have a really good relationship, at least what we see, at least on the pitch. But yeah, I just my stance on it is just he's probably just rejecting like every club, and he's being very picky with picking his next team. Which, to be fair, it's your career. Like you
absolutely
be picky. Like I'm not mad at Martinelli at all for doing this. But again, the club has to do what the club wants to do, but he has to do what he wants to do for his career.
Well,
so
he's under contract. So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the club need to honor the contract. Much like look, this is the reverse, quite frankly, of Julian Alvarez, right?
Yeah.
It is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
Where the club want a player gone versus a player who wants to leave his club, and neither thing is happening. I think both sides need to realize that there's a contract to be honored here, and if he doesn't want to go anywhere, then you know what? Then Arteta figure it out, because you agreed to give him a contract extension when he got it here a few years ago, and that's it. And find a place for him, because honestly, there is a place for him here. Right now, this season, there is a place for him. So, Mikey, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, there's also, and again, it's depend on what you want to believe of Martinelli as a human being, almost, right? Or what his agent is telling him. He goes into next summer, he has one more year on his contract. And all of a sudden, the club has to sell him for cheaper, and he gets better wages. That's also a reality of what the sport is and what the sport has evolved into. Again, I'm just speculating and talking about everything. So it's another thing where he could literally say, "No, I want to stay here," and then in 2027, the club has the option to extend his contract for one year, and we're just going to have him one more year. And then all of a sudden, instead of demanding 50, 60 for him, they're going to have to take 20 from somebody, and so he's going to make a shitload of money. Nothing against that. I want to emphasize that. Nothing against that. But the whole conversation for me is, I do find it kind of funny that we're stuck between this, are we a classy club on and off the field or not type of thing. And I feel like we get judged. We're like, any other team would be like, oh yeah, we don't need you. We fully intend to sell you. And with Arsenal, it's like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? How can you treat this poor puppy this way? And we're like, we're literally doing what every single club does. like every other club strips player, and they haven't stripped him from his number, right? But every other club doesn't include players and in squads and say, hey, no, we already told him that he's not part of the plans. Okay, you're not part of the plans, therefore, hey, it would be advisable for you to leave. You can't force him out. If he wants to stay, he could stay. I'm nowhere near, like, I made comments about Martinelli. He irritates the crap out of me, but I think there was a comment probably from BX there where I'm like, yeah, I'd probably keep Martinelli over Midwecki. Don't place at different positions, but like he was just kind of like, I think BX said that I would rather keep Martinelli. I'd drop Nani over Martinelli all day. That was the comment. And yeah, I agree. I would probably give more minutes to Max Dowman on the right hand side for Saka than Nani. So it's not that I'm desperate for Nelly to leave. I just kind of find it like, I don't know. I don't buy into this poor guy that all he wants to do is stay. I think he's probably making it very difficult for the club to move him on. And I feel like the club already told him, hey, we don't need you, or we want to move you on for reasons. So I don't know. I just don't think it's black and white. And to BX's point about like bargaining chip, I do think Ian Wright making public statements like that is probably not beneficial for the club.
Yeah.
As a selling club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great point for Eisen.
And the only thing I'll say is, I guess, be extra child your opinion about dropping Noni over him. But like, to be honest, like someone like, cause I thought originally, I was like, well, yeah, he's on the squad. Like, who's he gonna get a shirt over? Like, we're loaded now. And then I look and I'm like, and I love Max Dowman. He could get a shirt over Max Dowman. And then I'm like, Ethan, we're trying to get, not necessarily not sell him permanently,
loan him,
we're
right?
trying to loan him out so he can get a shirt over Ethan, and Ethan not getting a shirt and Martinelli getting a shirt. Yeah, that's not a story. That's we're trying to sell Ethan, like, it makes sense. But yeah, so like he could have theoretically got a shirt for me over Max Dowman and Ethan Winery. But yeah, it's just, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've read my piece on the situation. So we're gonna do this season. We're gonna do something, a little segment here, sort of an homage to OG and I. Sorry, Mike. I don't know that you're the biggest ice hockey fan in the world, but since OG and I are both pretty big hockey fans, we're gonna do a segment on the post match shows. We're gonna call it 3 Stars, and like I said, it's a bit of an homage to mine and OG's hockey fandom, if you will. For those that don't know, just look it up. You'll understand it. But anyway, so 3 stars, and it's basically your first star is your man of the match, but we're going to call it 3 stars, and we're going to rattle them off. We'll have a quick discussion, and then we're going to get out of here because we're at 90 minutes, and I want to wrap this up. I've got an early wake up tomorrow, so I do want to get out of here. But we will get through this. Do you guys want to go? We each give our 3 stars, or do you want to go 3rd star? We each give our 3rd, 2nd star. We each give our 2nd. What do you guys think? We're kind of creating.
You're the host. It's up to you. You're the host.
I kind of like the idea. You know what? I think let's just give 3 stars. Let's just each go give our 3 stars, and perhaps a brief discussion. And I've got mine written down, so I'll go first, and we'll see how this goes. But my 3rd star is actually it's more of I want to give him a mention than it is anything else. But Christian Mascara is my 3rd star of the match. I mean, there's a guy that we mentioned earlier. Certain players, you just say, if you don't talk about him, that's a good thing. That means he did his job. And I think in this role right now for Christian Mascara, where we are, I think that's exactly what we need from him. Let's just talk about him. If we're not talking about him, he didn't do anything wrong. So my 3rd star of the game is Christian Mascara. My 2nd star, we hit on him earlier, and I think we're all gushing right now at this point. We're all going to fall in love with Kalamata olives and feta cheese and gyro meat and all that good stuff.
Oh,
Solis. You don't like gyros?
No, I don't.
What? What is
I
wrong
had
with
tzatziki.
you, Philly taco. What is wrong with you?
I had tzatziki sauce once a few years ago, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Dude, you need to come to Pittsburgh, man. I'll get you a gyro. You'll fall in love. I know you will.
All right.
Anyway, Christos Solis is my second star. For obvious reasons. This dude just he looks like he could be a superstar in the making, but he's a player that so far everything I think we've seen from him, he's a move you to the edge of your seat or get you up out of your seat kind of player where you're like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? And you're expecting something good, which is good from the Department of Redundancy department. But my number one star for our opening match of the season, a 3-0 win against Coventry City. He is number 8 in your program, but he is number 1 in your heart, ladies and gentlemen. He is the captain, Martin Odegaard, with a goal today, and I said it on the last show that we did. If he is on, and he looks like he is really on right now, we look like a different team. His high press, his intelligence on the ball. It's you know what Martin Odegaard is to me right in this moment. It is the you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And when he was missing last year, not at his best for the last 2 years, and now I'm seeing this, it's like, please, OG, you said wrap them in bubble wrap. Please keep him healthy, because I've seen a different team with him in the lineup. I've seen an infinitely different team with Martin Odegaard in the lineup. So Martin Odegaard from the first match of the season, and I will keep track of this, but Martin Odegaard is my first star of the game. OG, Mikey's on mute, so I'll just go to you. I'll go to you next, and then Mikey will come to you last, and then we'll wrap up. So OG, go for it.
It's funny. I have my 3, but I'm still torn on who I want as a second star and first star. But my third star is Martin Odegaard. Everything you said, perfectly awesome. Yeah, he's back. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm gonna just do that. My second star is gonna be
Odegaard is your third star.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to put him as the first star, but only because I like him. So I'm gonna just give him a second star. My second star is going to be Miles Skelly. Dude, he was just a beast. Most touches, played the most passes, won the most duels, won the most free kicks, regained possession more times than any other Arsenal player. Dude was a beast. And not even really a starter. So yeah, I it sucks. I know you guys like Bruno. I want more MLS in my life. And my first star, obviously, the Greek freak, Solis. Yeah, I mean, it was tough between him and MLS, but dude was just everywhere. When he early in the first half, when he made that cross on the right side, well, he retrieved the ball in the 18-yard box on the right side. And I'm like, whoa, wait, that's Solis. What are you doing? and he had a decent cross, and I was just like, dude was everywhere, worked his socks off. And I think it's kind of a little biased him being the first star, mainly because he's so new to the team. He's a new attacker, and when reports are coming out about us signing him, he's not the main guy. We're going for someone else. Like, essentially, like, we're signing him to be a backup, and here he is, like, lighting it up. Yes, Coventry, but still Premier League. We're champions. He's starting for us, and he's playing this well. He played well all preseason. So I think that's more why it's why I kind of probably edge him over MLS, the first star. But yeah, dude, what a
edging anybody over here.
Well, to each their own. But yeah, so very, very, very well done, Greek man, Greek freak. Hopefully, he keeps doing this, and we won't talk about Martinelli no more. We won't be talking about anybody on the left anymore.
Mikey?
Dude, I'm actually split on a few, but because I feel like he deserves a mention. I'll put my third star would be Calafiore. He's such an unorthodox.
My fourth star.
Yeah, like he's just fourth star, 4 positions for him, right?
Yeah.
You never know where he's going to be.
Well done.
He could be a winger.
Well
he could be, you know what I mean? Like he's all over the place. So I feel like just the versatility and the unpredictability makes him such a fun player to watch. So I'm going to say a 3 for him. I'm struggling between my last 2, but I'm just going to go with Miles Skelly for second. It was something like 44 passes completed, 98%. Pass completion, 4 out of 4 duels won. He has that. I think Ryan alluded to it, that aura that Zubimendi just doesn't have, like this presence on the field. So it's gonna be interesting. I know he's gonna get a lot of minutes, but I don't know how many minutes. But either way, anytime he plays, I like to see him play. And then my first man, coin flip almost. Now I'm gonna go with Solis just because of his consistency throughout the preseason. Now it's like 30 games, or it's like 20 or 30 games providing a goal and or an assist in club. So I think he deserves a shout, and he's another one of those players that we don't know by the end of the transfer window he might be a backup. But I just love how chill, composed, and traditional he is, and like I will take his style of play over fucking bicycle kicks and kicks ups and all this bullshit that like Cherokee does. He's just like no filler, dude. No filler. Everything he does is with the aim of being as effective as possible. The game of football, and I absolutely love his style of play.
Yeah, well done, boys. Well done. That was good. I like that. Short, sweet, to the point. We get it done. You guys agreed on your first and second stars. But that is going to be it for us. We are at an hour and 40 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Chat, big up the chat. BX Gunner, TJ Warren was in there. Dow was in there. Welcome in, Dow. Thanks for being there, buddy. Charles was in there as well. Good active chat tonight. Well done, guys. If you lasted this far and you haven't already, do me a favor, please, and drop a like on the video. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Click the bell icon. That way you will always be in the know. You'll never miss an episode. You can get the audio on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your audio from your chosen platform. OG, you want to say one final quick thing, and then we'll get out of here?
Yeah, well, one little fact that I read today that was crazy. This is the second time in the Premier League that Saka, Odegaard, and Havertz have started together since December of 2024. I think is absolutely mind-blowing. And
Bonkers.
just really quick, because we didn't talk about him at all. Big shout out to Ben White. Played 90, which
I almost made him my 3-star player. I was like back and forth.
I wanted him off the pitch almost before Saka and Rice. I don't know. I was like, he can't play 90 minutes. He can't, coming off a big knee injury. I was like, he can't play 90 minutes. He can't play 90 minutes. And I'm like, and then I realized, like, oh wow, he has to play 90 minutes. We have 5 subs out already. Like, this sucks. Dude, he came out unscathed. I'm nervous, obviously, with the Timber injury, Saliba injury. Yes, we have Konza coming in, but like, I talked about Saka and Rice being bubble wrapped. He needs two things of bubble wrap, because I was very nervous for him, and he killed it. Playing 90 minutes off a big injury like that he deserves some praise. So awesome.
Yeah. I hear. I'm a huge Benny White fan. Glad he came through unscathed. I did get a little worried toward the end. I thought he was starting to look a little leggy. From about 70 minutes on, I was a little worried, but we now get 10 days off or something like that. We don't play again until a week Monday. So 3 points in the bag, everybody. If you're listening on audio, by the way, thank you guys all very much. Please leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you feel so inclined. We would greatly appreciate that as well. And tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a coworker, tell a family member, tell a pet. I don't care. Just get people to watch us, listen to us. We think we're doing a pretty good thing here. We think we've got some good content for you guys. It's a little different. It's not your typical, it's not your typical Arsenal show, Arsenal podcast, and we're going to be getting into it this season. So 3 points, hopefully another 3 points in the bag here in 10 days or so. But look ahead to the big show coming up in a few days. We'll talk about it. We'll get it out there, and everybody will know. It's been good footy talk.